the nation when it comes to college-level coursework in high school.
This is great news. The State Department of Public Instruction says participation in advanced placement or AP classes continues to climb for the fourth straight year. And this time, the state set a record. Last school year, students took more than 171,000 AP exams. That's nearly 10% higher than the year before and a new all-time high for qualifying scores. 72% of those exams earned a score of 3 or better, meaning college credit for thousands of students.
Yeah, and that may sound like a small statistic, but here's why this matters. Every one of those exams represents a student taking on college-level rigor while still in high school. That potentially saves those students thousands of dollars in tuition because they can ultimately graduate college faster, leave students with less debt when they actually leave school. It's also a sign of broader access. For years, AP courses were often out of reach for students in smaller or lower income districts. This report shows gains across every region, every demographic group in the state, meaning opportunity is expanding, not narrowing. And at today's State Board of Education meeting, leaders said they're focused on expanding that access even further.
North Carolina has also invested heavily in making that possible. The state covers the cost of AP exams so students aren't priced out of opportunity. It also funds teacher training through the North Carolina AP Partnership, which helps more schools offer the classes, especially in rural areas. The result? 4 consecutive years of growth that have pushed the state ahead of national trends. While the country as a whole saw about 70% of AP tests earn qualifying scores last year, North Carolina topped 72%, a record high performance.
Yeah, it's great news. The bigger picture here, stronger AP participation tends to correlate with higher college readiness, better graduation rates, and a more skilled workforce. In other words, what starts in a high school classroom today could help shape North Carolina's economy tomorrow. Some sharp kids out there. So when you hear AP growth, not just an educational statistic.
No, it's more students stepping up, more families saving money, and more schools proving that with the right support, access, and achievement can rise together.
That is certainly some great news tonight. Great way to end tonight. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.